Hi, friends and new friends. You know, as a content creator, it's always a pleasure for me to interview other content creators for the show. We have a lot in common, so it usually makes for a nice conversation. But with today's guest, I have even more in common, and that's what makes for an even more interesting conversation. Today, I'm talking with Rod Ambrissi of Dash Brazil, right here on CATV. I'm Christopher Carruthers, also known as Tao of Satoshi, and you're watching Cash Alternative TV. So what is Cash Alternative TV other than that catchy jingle? Well, it's a show all about cryptocurrency with a focus on Dash, which aims to be a digital cash for the world, an alternative to cash. If that's something that you're interested in, you want to learn more about Dash, or just want to hang out with me some more, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss an episode. Now into the topic of today's show. Well, today we're talking with Rod Ambrissi. He's of Dash Brazil and Dash Dinheiro. He's a proposal owner that has a proposal in front of the Dash network, and he's getting funded straight from the blockchain. So that's interesting. We're going to talk about that, his documentaries, and all his efforts to promote Dash in Brazil right now. Welcome to the show, Rod.
Hey, thanks for having me, Tao. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, you're a third-time viewer, a third-time participant on this show. So it's very excited to have you here with me. You're a very well speaker, and I'm glad to hear what's going on in Brazil. So my channel has been growing since the last time you've been on, and maybe you want to give yourself a brief introduction of who you are and how you got into cryptocurrency and Dash.
Sure. Yeah, well, first of all, thank you. You've been one of my biggest supporters since the beginning, since 2017, like the mid-2017, so I really appreciate that. For those who doesn't know me, I started a YouTube channel, a whole marketing program as well came after that for Dash Digital Cash, the Brazil community. This was after seeing Amanda B. Johnson, Daily Decrypt. I reached out to her, say, hey, what do you think about the idea of doing the same thing, but here in Portuguese in Brazil? I speak the language, so she helped me put together my first proposal. And from that, I've been renewing my proposals ever since with the Dash community. The community in Brazil grew tremendously. We also started a masternode fund, privately owned. We have 26 masternode under our management, not just me, but during the Brazilian community. Plus, Brazil has a high amount of wallets being downloaded from the official dash.org website. We have several partnerships with exchange, and our YouTube channel, Dash Dinheiro Digital, plus our social media became one of the main references for crypto news in Brazil, to the point that I'm proud to say I was elected number 42 of the most influential social media YouTuber in Brazil out of 50 top names. Of course, you know, we even have an economist who works for the Brazilian Mint that's on the list. So I was actually very proud to be on the list as well. And this was done by Cointelegraph.
Wow, congratulations. So I see you're very active online. I see you on Facebook all the time. I guess that's a big place for Brazilian people to watch on Facebook. I don't really understand what you're saying because I don't speak Portuguese, but I see you're very active there. So is that the case, that it's very popular on Facebook?
Yes, so Facebook is, of course, huge in Brazil. We started first on YouTube. We tried to expand to other platforms. My channel was also deleted by accident by YouTube. They put the channel back. A while back, we tried other platforms like DTube, DLive, Twitch, Library, but unfortunately for Portuguese videos, there's not a lot of traction. But we focus now on Facebook, Cost.tv. It's a Chinese video platform. Not sure why, but it's huge in Brazil. Our viewers, our videos get about 1,000 views per day on that platform as well. So there's a lot of Portuguese traction for those videos. And of course, what everybody's been going through the pandemic now, trying to do lives and work online, work from home. We've been doing this for 3 years already. So for us, there's not been change. We just increase our social media outreach. And we developed a few techniques now that we actually can broadcast our live TV show to 5 different Facebook and YouTube channels simultaneously. So this actually brought our audience.
Okay, I want to unpack a little bit about what happened to you with YouTube, because that affects me too as a podcaster. My channel hasn't been touched by anything like that yet, but in this process, were you given any indication of why YouTube took down your channel?
No, it's all done automatically by algorithm. So about 3 in the morning, I received a notification saying that my video was flagged. Actually, I only saw this the day after, right? But I saw the email at 3 in the morning. There was an automatic email saying that I received a flag, like a red flag on YouTube, which was the first one in 3 years. And then 20 minutes later, there was another email saying that my channel was banned for not following the guidelines. Of course, found out this at 8 in the morning, kind of panicked next day, start reaching out to everybody, all the other YouTubers. We have a group of all the YouTubers that create content for crypto in Brazil. All of them made videos protesting. Also, we started a campaign on Twitter just to get YouTube's attention. It took a day and a half for them to instate our channel. One of the guys who helped me through a Twitter said, probably my channel fell into the new algorithm regarding coronavirus, which we don't mention anything about the virus. Our channel is about crypto.
Interesting.
But the video that was flagged was a video about technical analysis. And I think because I wrote down the title, Bitcoin price is about to explode. Maybe they about to explode raise a red flag on the bots that read all those titles and everything, and the channel was down. So they put it back. The channel is up and running. But it was good for us actually to learn as well, how to take care of a good language, because we can't lose the channel. Even though now I have the backup for all the videos, all the content, other platforms, our main audience is still YouTube.
Did anyone from YouTube reach out to you to apologize for taking down your channel, or it just appeared back up?
No, not to apologize. They had a guy for like some product inspector, gold medal, YouTube, something from Google reach out to me saying, hey, do all those steps, reply, wait 24 hours. If it doesn't come back, reach out to me again. And then I'll have a person taking a look on your case, because it's all algorithm.
Yeah.
YouTube has billions of minutes of videos being uploaded every hour. It's humanly impossible for someone to be checking. But he told me he will guide YouTube to have a person, like a real person, taking a good look on my video. But our Twitter campaign worked well because we had 200 retweets and comments, all tagged to YouTube. About a day and a half later, the channel was back, and I got a notification on Twitter saying, hey, just make sure you follow the brand guidelines. Your channel might be at risk if you don't, and blah, blah, blah. But I don't have any flags, any strikes or anything like this, so we're good.
Okay, so as a YouTube content creator, what do you think about the other platforms that are out there and the move towards decentralization and hosting content on crypto platforms? So we have centralized services like YouTube, and now we have decentralized services like Library and stuff like that. So have you been taking advantage of these other platforms, and what do you think about this move to decentralization of content?
Oh, definitely. I think it's here to stay. YouTube's still king. The volume, the time. YouTube's been around since 2004 or 5, if I'm not wrong. So it will take time for other platforms. All of them are copycats of YouTube. Some of them have better futures. Some of them have to improve. But once you add a decentralized platform where you can be monetized by the audience, literally cutting the company, the corporation, cutting the middleman, you get paid on a certain token. That's one point. That's actually good, and I think that's the future of social media and other platforms. Micro payment, micro transactions. You get paid as you go. You pay as you go for little work, little ant work. But this will take time for other platforms to catch up. But again, we've seen so many mistakes, or maybe there is a conspiracy theory trying to take down all the crypto tubers, all the YouTuber content creators for cryptocurrencies. Maybe they're trying to shut them out. But we saw a lot of YouTubers migrating to other platforms. One of the example was PewDiePie migrating to DTube or DLive. I'm not sure which one he migrated, and then he would bring his audience to a certain point. But the future is this decentralized video platform where you get monetized. That's not going anywhere anytime soon. That's here to stay.
Okay, and as we can see from your shirt, there's a big Dash logo on it. So I know you're a big fan of Dash, and I know you want to host your content on Dash maybe in the future, because we have something coming out called the Dash platform. And this is something where you can harness the power of the Dash network and the decentralized masternodes to potentially host content such as yours and mine. So what do you think about that?
I think that's going to be phenomenal once we have the platforms up and running, and any developer can create any type of application running on the top of the network that allows people to create content to share, even if it's not video in the beginning, because video it's heavier, which requires more data and more storage. But at least on news, and let's start with news from Dash itself, like proper news, so we don't have the reverberation of those news. Someone said something a while ago, and then one news media copied the other news, and then they copied the other news, and then in the end, one of the examples was now that Dash was backed by gold. That kind of went through the roof. Well, not exactly backed by gold, but there was a group of proposal owners who decided to take part of the treasury to buy gold to, if the value goes up, reinvest that gold back into the Dash network. But, the reverberation of those news got distorted after a while. So if we have maybe one platform, like one dApp in the beginning, which will allow the Dash community to say, okay, this is the news. So everybody else can come and get this news from this source, because nobody can delete this source because it's set on the blockchain. And I think there's a big game. And besides, that will come from the creativity from the developers around the world, what they're gonna create, and I can't wait.
Okay, so before we go into your what you're doing down in Brazil and how you're spreading the word of Dash, I want to go into a little bit of the Dash network and how it works and your experiences with the Dash network. So I find there's a lot of misinformation out there about Dash. That a lot of people think that it's a centralized entity, that we have a CEO, like there's a CEO of Dash, like, which is Ryan Taylor, but it's not. It's actually very much more complex than that. What we have is a decentralized autonomous organization in Dash, and we have decentralized masternodes that vote on the direction of Dash and how to use the treasury. So how is your experience when it comes to that? I know you have to deal with the decentralized autonomous organization as a proposal owner. Like anyone could submit a proposal from anywhere, as you chose to do. So could you tell my viewers a little bit about what your experience was like when you applied to have this proposal that you have for Dash Brazil?
Yeah, sure. First of all, my proposals, they always been approved because of the quality of the proposal that we develop and then we give back to the network. So we bring value into a new market in a different language, right? And but in the beginning, it was, of course, very different because it was the first time I was working to an organization, let's put this way, where I don't actually have a directly supervisor. Right? I don't have a boss. I mean, Ryan Taylor never reached out to me telling me what to do, or anybody from core team. Yep. I do have some criticism from Masternode, some opinions and some suggestions from Masternode, but I have 100% autonomy to do whatever I want. But in a couple months from now, I have to present the results. If the results are not in satisfaction of the masternodes, the true owners of the network, they won't vote. They won't vote on my proposal. So first of all, it sucks that I have to reapply for my job every couple months. That's bad.
Yep.
That keeps you on the edge, right? But again, I don't have a supervisor. I don't have anybody on my neck telling me what to do. But yet I have to see what all the other communities I follow closely. Dash Next, I follow closely. Dash Nigeria, I follow closely. Dash Mexico, Dash Colombia, Dash Venezuela, to see what they're doing and what I can use from there. And I am sure, because a lot of other proposal owners reach out to me all the time asking for advices. And I'm like, this worked in Brazil. Maybe you can do the same over there, but you can adapt to what you need. So it's like this constant, like, growing organism that it's expanding, in a very organized way in this middle of this chaos. So it's very interesting. It's changing a lot of concept to work for someone that I don't have a boss, but still have the responsibilities. And we've seen some cases of proposal owners who didn't do a good job and came back asking for more funds, and the network said no, right? Say, listen, you didn't do what you said, or even sometimes I cannot deliver what I suggest that I would be able to because of other reasons, but then we try to adapt, we change, and next time we come back with something different, and then we keep going. So we are, this DAO is changing basically the relationship that we have as employee and employer, and the responsibility that it's on the person, the proposal owner, to keep doing a good job. Because I see this, for me, it's a job. It's 100% job for me. It's not just a side gig. It's not something I do on the weekends. This is a daily thing that I have on my schedule that I have to do in order to keep the network growing, in order to keep providing a value to the network, to the master nodes, and so on. And of course, there's always the criticism, but the criticism comes from other communities and other maximalists from that community. They'll say, oh yeah, Dash is centralized, has a CEO. I'm like, Dash is not centralized, doesn't have a CEO. Because the normal user, the mom and dad, the investor, they don't care about any of this. They don't even know any of this. They want to know if the system is working, if the network is growing, and what's the plan ahead, so they can put their money. We've been very successful promoting masternode ownership because we promote as a decentralized savings account. We say, listen, we don't say the word blockchain. We don't say decentralized organization, nothing. Otherwise, you lose that mom and dad that's trying to put money. We're focused on families here. We don't want to do day trading to get people rich. We're saying, listen, protect your money. If you're gonna invest something, you can invest into a decentralized savings account, into a network. It's gotta pay 7%, almost 7% a year. It's not much comparing to what other investments can offer you, but I assure you, it's 100% safe because you control your funds 100% of the time, and all you have to do is just prove to the masternode operator that you have 1,000 Dash on your wallet, and that's it. And you're in control. Nobody can take this from you. It's a lot of money. Maybe you can. I have a friend of mine. He's like, listen, 1,000 Dash in my hand, I can make more money trading daily. But not everybody knows how to do trading. So it's 100% safe. It's a decentralized savings account. So that's how I pitch.
Cool. Yeah. So there's lots of different use cases for Dash. I like to coin recently that it's like a sliding scale, right? You're either in it to make money or you're in it to change the world, and you could fall anywhere in between on that level, And I think at the beginning, I used to be in it to want to change the world, to make money, but now I want to change the world. So I don't know. I guess you probably fall somewhere in the middle of that scale too. Where would you put yourself?
Well, at the moment, growing up in Brazil and seeing what the government did in Brazil, we had 6 types of currency, which I have one of them here, in 15 years. So every once in a while, see, this is one of the bills, right? That shows the value of the bill is 10 cruzeiros.
Yeah.
There's a stamp from the government saying that this bill is now worth 1 cent.
Wow.
Because they cut the zeros, right?
Yeah.
So this was actually my dad's salary in the 80s, in the 70s, right? The end of the 70s.
Yeah.
So there's a few bills that he saved. So Brazil was like, we were the biggest social economical experiment on the planet. We had over 15 trillion% inflation. Sorry, 1.5 trillion% inflation in 15 years using 6 types of currencies. Every couple months, the government will say, okay, we're changing the name of the money, we're cutting 3 zeros, now there's a new money. Another example is Venezuela. This is my stack of money from Venezuela.
Wow.
I have here,
Crazy.
When I was in Venezuela, I changed this for $1. At the time, it was worth 25 cents, but the girl didn't have more money to give it to me. This is not in circulation anymore, right? So that's what money became. And being growing up in a low income class in Brazil, my dad was a metal worker, my mom was a bus driver. I saw the struggles that my family went through. We always were on the limits of the finance. I remember my dad crying around the house several times because of job economy, losing jobs, not being able to move things. This is the reality of a third world country. We always had 10 to 15% unemployment in the 80s and the 90s. This was something absolutely normal. And this always got me into what is this concept of money? Why people always have to struggle and do this? One of the reasons why I got into university to study sociology, how societies behave and how people behave in societies. But towards that, I got more into economics, and later on, moving and living to another countries, I found out about crypto. In a way, looking for how to send money to my dad in Brazil. And through Google, I ended up in a Roger Ver's video talking about Bitcoin in 2014, and that's how I got into crypto. I didn't really understand in the beginning, but I was more attracted to how passionate Roger Ver talked about crypto and how he said this was gonna change. And then with time, I started doing a lot of podcasts. YouTube play the biggest role regarding cryptocurrency on the planet. It's not Bitcoin is not the king. YouTube was the main tool where people find out about crypto in the past 5 years.
Yep.
And from that, we grew from there.
All right, so that's an interesting viewpoint on how currency, it's definitely something that's needed in those countries, right? Dash is needed, Bitcoin's needed, because the inflation is just crazy, especially like you said in Venezuela. And you did a podcast, not a podcast, but like you did a documentary on Venezuela. And I'm gonna link that in the description below in case any of my viewers haven't seen it. But can you like detail a little bit about your experiences making that documentary?
Oh yeah, so there's 3 documentaries we have on our channel. I'll send you the link so you can put on the description. They're all in English. The first one was when the Venezuela community invited me to go there to host a couple lectures about the economy, how Brazil went through exactly the same thing that they're going through now 20 years ago. And once I arrived in Venezuela, the community there was so helpful. They brought me to places. There was a taxi driver that took Dash. They went to pick me up on the airport. We went to have lunch, breakfast, dinner, places that accept Dash every day on a different place. I stay in hotel, pay with Dash. Went to some meetups, to the Chamber of Commerce and Industry to host a presentation, another lecture. So after a whole week, and because I'm a video guy, I had so many pictures and so many videos. I had over 50 hours of videos that when I got back home, I'm like, listen, I got to put this in some sort of I was going to do like a YouTuber experience, like a video log or something like this. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to put as a documentary format. And then it's on YouTube available. It's called Venezuela and the Cryptocurrency Revolution. Later on, 1 year later, I went to Colombia, did the same thing with the communities there, organized all the meetups and going door to door to explain to business how to accept Dash and so on. And last year, I went to Switzerland and I shot the 3rd documentary where I interview a bunch of important people talking about the financial impacts of cryptocurrencies and how the banks and fintechs and the government are working together in Switzerland, saying, hey, come here, come to us. If you prove to us that your business is legit, we'll give you a bank account and all the tools that you need to start your project. And one of the cool interviews that I have on this 3rd documentary is with the lawyer who on the Switzerland documentary is with the lawyer who did the ICO, the Ethereum ICO, right? The Ethereum ICO is one of the most successful ICOs on the planet. And he said that, when Vitalik and Charles Hodgson walk into their office talking about blockchain and cryptocurrencies, that law firm, they were like, well, we have no idea what you guys talking about. We never heard about any of this. But they decided to say, hey, we think those crazy guys are ahead of time and, they might have something. And he tells the story on the documentary, how the law firm decided to learn everything that they could about crypto and blockchain and then teach the regulators in Switzerland. And from there, today, FEMA and the Crypto Valley is one of the most accommodating governments and banking system supporting the crypto ecosystem on the planet.
So I didn't know that you did 3 documentaries. You have to shoot me the links for the other 2. I haven't seen them, and I'll put them in the description below as well so my viewers can see them. I saw the one in Venezuela. I thought that was the only one that you did. You did another one. So that kind of segues into what I want to talk about next, which is your personal accomplishments with Dash Brazil. What have you been up to since the last time we've talked? And I know you've been up to a lot. You've been creating content, but are there any highlights that you would like to share about what you've been up to?
Oh yeah, I think that the one that we can give you here the highlights in English, and it's a surprise. We're gonna make the announcement this week, if not next week. I'm waiting on the company, but we have a marketing platform company in Brazil called Zyguide.com. which they pay people to do a couple tasks for them. Micropayments, you earn 50 cents, $1, something like this, right? They have their own token, which is a ERC20 token based on Ethereum. But since I got together with them and I explained the functionality of Dash and how it can save them money with transactions, especially for micropayments, they did a few campaigns, and instead of using their token, they used Dash as a payment for micropayments for their marketing campaigns. And then, of course, after a month, they calculated they save over $1,000 in fees, doing over 5,000 payments using Dash than using their own Ethereum token, because gas is more expensive than the Dash fees. So they got together and they're about to ditch, and they're going to stop using their ERC20 token, and they got to move 100% of their payments with Dash because it's cheaper for them. As simple as that. You know, even though that their token is accepted in 2 exchanges in Brazil, we have over 10 exchanges in Brazil that accept Dash. But again, you come to a company and say, hey, whatever you're doing, if you do with Dash, you got to save over $1,000 per campaign or whatever, you know, per payment. Which company doesn't want to save money, especially, you know? So this is one example how, you know, having a very extremely low fee transactions, having a secure network against 51% attacks, and being a cryptocurrency is 100% focused on micropayments. Dash, you know, is way more useful than any ERC20 token.
Awesome. So you've been doing your, also you're part of Electropay, right? Are you like one of the founders of Electropay, or you have a good role in Electropay? And they're doing well as for payment processing in Brazil, right?
Yeah, so we have our little machines here. Actually, I'm charging one of those right now. It's our hardware units that you can use it 2 ways. You can actually use it via our web wallet, and the funds go to your own web wallet. You control that 100%. Or we can have an exchange, create an API to talk to our system. So every time, for example, the local pizzeria receives a payment through our system, it goes straight into the order book of the exchange inside your account. So always the customer holds 100% of the funds. And inside the exchange, he can maybe have a bot that will liquidate into a stable coin right away so he doesn't lose on volatility. Or he can sell right away. He can sell right away for cash and get this, you know, on his account. So we have a few machines in Venezuela, we have a few machines in Brazil, a few in Europe. Of course, now because of all this pandemic, the amount of transactions, you know, at stores are very low because people are not really going to stores or shops or malls. Or in this example in Venezuela, at the mall, Dash Mall and Parking project, in January, February, December, they were getting about 1,000 Dash transactions per unit per parking lot, because people were really using it. We can actually see, you know, the transactions and everything. So we're going now. Let's see how, you know, after this whole pandemic, how business and the economy is gonna get together. But our official website is electropay.com, and anybody can check it out.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Like if somebody watches this video in like 2 years, they're not going to know what we're talking about. But right now it's a big issue, the coronavirus pandemic. And how do you think that cryptocurrency offers a better experience to users that are worried about catching diseases from fiat money?
Well, that's one of the things we've been talking on our morning show in Brazil, you know, for a couple months now, because in Brazil, we had a president at one time that confiscated everybody's money from their bank accounts. It sounds like a 1984, you know, George Orwell book saying, you know, this is insane. But yes, we had a president. He took over first day of office. He told everybody, listen, everybody who has money in the bank account, the government now owns your money. We gotta use to pay the government bills, and then we gotta pay you back slowly. So he confiscated the money, which I told people, like, I don't know now with this whole pandemic if the government might do the same thing and say, hey, listen, it's forbidden to use paper money anymore, because fiat money, because you can get contaminated, which is true. Paper money, fiat money is very dirty, it goes from hand to hand, you know, it can transmit disease or other types of disease or whatever, you know. So this was something that we were worried in Brazil, because as we had a government who did this once, what could stop the government again to say and use the coronavirus as an excuse to say, hey, you know what? Nobody's allowed to use paper money anymore. You have to have a debit card from the government, and you have to use everything on debit card now. Like India did it 2 years ago. India already actually got rid of all their fiat hardware, the hard supply of money from the hands of the people, forcing everybody to use the centralized 100% control fiat system that they have now in India.
So what do you think, I got to end off with one question. Where do you think that cryptocurrency is headed in the short term and in the long term? Like say the next year, where do you think it's going and where do you think it's going to be in the long term?
I'm waiting for 2020. I think all the news we got in 2020, they're being the easiest and kind of quiet news so far. I'm sure some big nation by the end of the year is going to announce that they're ditching the US dollar. They're ditching fiat. Everybody must use their cryptocurrency. Central bank cryptocurrencies are here to stay. Today, China just made an announcement saying that their cryptocurrency is ready. Now they're on the testing phase. I think United States is falling behind. Brazil is also, they just came up with a payment system through the government using QR code, but still, you know, the government hasn't said anything about their own cryptocurrency. But I think there's a war among central banks to see who's gonna have their best cryptocurrency is gonna be coming this year, and Bitcoin's been running for 11 years, and cryptocurrencies that have a solid project like Dash are here to stay, and then we gotta see the value of all of the ecosystem going up rapidly.
There's only one thing you don't want to say, Rod. It's this is the last time you're going to see Bitcoin under 10,000.
Yeah.
you never want to say that because you're going to have egg on your face every time, it seems.
Exactly. But listen, I think by the end of the year we'll be able to say something like, yeah, that's the last time we saw Bitcoin under 10,000 was in 2020, you know. But let's see, there's so many things happening. We are in a war of information. We don't know what to believe. We have politicians giving information about medical advices, which makes no sense to me. How a politician can give you a medical advice, because once you're sick, you go to the hospital. You don't go to the chamber of commerce of your city to, you know, get a checkup. You know, so there's so much misinformation on the globe today about coronavirus, about COVID-19. About finance. Governments are printing money like there's no tomorrow. And I think we're about to enter this perfect storm that I tell people every day: protect your money, protect your savings with cryptocurrencies. Even gold, I'm not a big fan of gold because I don't know what gold is. Because if I tell people buy gold and then someone buys, I don't know what gold is. I can buy something shiny, but who knows what gold is? You know, if you still need a piece of paper with someone's signature saying this is gold, you're not really buying gold. So but yeah, there's something perfect store coming. So I tell people buckle up because there's got to be a lot of turbulence this year.
Right on. So it's Rod Ambrissi from Dash Brazil. Happy to have you on the show. I really like your background that you've got there. It's a really cool black background with the black chair and the nice dark blue Dash shirt. Looks really neat.
And my water heater here in the back too.
Yeah, the water heater. I can't even notice it. It's just kind of looks like a little accent on the right-hand side there. It's all right. But yeah, I'll give you the floor for the last of the show. If you have anything else you want to mention to my viewers or the Dash Network before we wrap things up.
Everybody, just learn as much as possible about cryptocurrencies, how to protect yourself. Remember, if it's not on your wallet, if it's not your keys, not your money, and this goes for any cryptocurrency, and don't believe, you know, on anything. Verify, do your own research, because there's a lot of things happening. Make sure you protect your finance, your investment, and your wealth.
Yep, that's crypto words to live by. So thanks for coming on the show, Rod. It was always nice to talk with you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Well, that was my interview with Rod Ambrissi. I hope you enjoyed it. He's an interesting character and he has lots going on, and I always enjoy talking with him. We'll have him on the show again for his 4th time, I'm sure. That's it for me today. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and click the bell if you want to see more from me and Cash Alternative TV episodes. Until next time, remember, Dash is a better money for a better future. And that future is getting closer every day. Bye for now.
Alternative.